Hey, what's going on? It's good to have you here. Good to see your smiling face. Well, not really see your smiling face, you know what I mean. But either way, I hope you're having a good day so far. As you may or may not know, depending on if you've seen some of the other videos, I'm currently working on making this transmission line subwoofer enclosure. Now in that previous video, I did all the build, I did all the woodworking for this enclosure, and I thought we were ready to go into upholstery, but there's still a few more things that I wanted to show you guys. For instance, what are some best practice procedures we can follow in order to mount the subwoofer into this enclosure like a professional? How can we then run the speaker wire into this box? Also, as you can see, we have this beauty panel on the front of the enclosure. How can we secure that to the front of the box without showing any mounting hardware? Finally, what the heck are these things? No, I'm not going for a Gothic theme. Why am I adding these to the box? All that and more is coming on up. Let's start building. Now, just so you guys know, I think ultimately my plan for this enclosure is I'm going to be using it in a home theater build, which is really kind of nice because of the design of a transmission line. We can get that low end extension. So I think what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be setting it up on its end in its finished install state. But in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to soften some of these corners. In order to soften these corners, I can use this guy right here. This is a round over bit. It's going to give me a nice round profile around that corner. And once we're done, it will just make the box look a little bit more smooth and finished. Now, something to take into account if you are going to use a round over bit once the box is actually finished is you just want to double check and make sure that it's not going to hit any of your fasteners. In this case, I'm using a 1/4 inch round over. So if we take a quick look here, we can see that all of these screws are past a 1/4 inch. We're not going to have any issues. Now obviously we're going to install the subwoofer here, and we need a way to connect the wiring from the outside of the box to the subwoofer. Normally in a car audio application, I recommend that you just drill a small hole, run the wiring through, put some caulk around this on both sides, and be good to go. But in this case, since I'm doing a home theater application, it's likely that I'll probably need to disconnect this box every once in a while to clean behind it and that sort of thing and move it around. So in this case, I'm going to be using a terminal cup. Just make sure that you get a high quality terminal cup. I have the links for the ones that I like to use down in the video description. So now we need a way of mounting the subwoofer into the enclosure, and you've probably seen where a lot of people will use something like this, a wood screw, but what we're going to do instead is we're going to be using a machine screw along with these threaded inserts. These will allow us to take the subwoofer in and out of the enclosure if we need to, and we're never going to wear out the original mounting thread. We can actually take this out virtually an unlimited amount of times without damaging these threads. Let's get these installed into the box. So we've got all those mounted. Now once we mount the subwoofer, it's not going anywhere, and we'll be able to take it in and out multiple number of times without any worries on damaging the wood. Now my friends, it's time to move on to mounting this front beauty panel. Now before we move on, I want to take a quick second to thank one of our sponsors, Audio Control. Audio Control has a wide range of devices allowing you to interface with the factory signal of your vehicle. Now lately, Audio Control has been getting more and more into the amplifier game with their LC series of amplifiers. This amplifier isn't quite released yet, but this is the LC 1.800. It's a monoblock 800 watt RMS amplifier. This amplifier allows us to take the speaker level inputs from a vehicle or RCAs, run them into this amp, and we're good to go. This thing slams. I'm looking forward to doing a review video in the near future. So again, a special thanks to Audio Control, making good sound great. What do you say? Let's keep on building. In order to hold this beauty panel onto the enclosure, I'm going to be using these neodymium magnets. These are about 1.5 inches in diameter, and they have a pull force of about 26 pounds each. So these are actually really strong. They're going to have no problem holding this onto the front of the enclosure. Again, if you want to know where you can find these different special materials, link down in the video description. So we've applied the CA glue, we've stuck our magnets in here, and we've given it plenty of time to dry. So now when we go to put our beauty panel on the front of the box, it just simply snaps into position. Now once again, since this is ultimately going to be part of a home theater setup, I'm going to be using these. These are enclosure spikes. We can attach them to the bottom of the enclosure, and what this does is it helps kind of not necessarily pierce down into the carpet, but it gives a nice solid mount into the carpet once we position this wherever we're ultimately going to be using it. So let's get these mounted into the box. Now that we have all the feet spikes ready to go, we have our subwoofer ready to be mounted, we've got everything mounted to the front here. And just a quick side note, once we move on to the upholstery, these pieces here will be press fit into this main piece, and that's based on the gap that we had around the outside. I am going to actually paint the inside of the port, and I'm also going to paint this whole front face. That way we don't have any of this light MDF color potentially showing through the transition from the carpet to the vinyl. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to make sure that you're updated when I upload the next video where we do some upholstery on this enclosure, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Once again, a special thanks goes out to Audio Control, along with John, Brian, Ali, Steven, Jerry, EJ, Emmanuel, Truman, James, and Colin, and the rest of the Patreon support team. A big thanks to all those dudes for helping make these videos possible, and thank you to you for watching.